अमेरिका की राष्ट्रीय खुफिया निदेशक तुलसी गबार्ड भारत के दौरे पर हैं। इस दौरान उन्होंने भारत यूएस के रिश्तों को लेकर क्या कुछ कहा, देखिए खास इंटरव्यू।
Madam Director, thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to speak with you.
It's great to see you.
This isn't the first time that you've been in India. You've come here before, but first time as Director of the National Intelligence. And we're looking forward to having you here and very happy that India is one of your first ports of call after you've assumed office. You've had your meetings with Mr. Doval and the other Intel czars. Can you tell us a little bit about the scope of intelligence sharing between India and the US?
Of course. So first of all, it's wonderful to be back in India. Really the tone and the relationship with our new administration under President Trump and Prime Minister Modi was set during Prime Minister Modi's visit to the White House. As you know, they are already good friends. It was a very great opportunity for them to share their joint vision for the U.S.-India partnership and the opportunity for us to continue to strengthen that partnership. So the meetings that I've had here with different Indian government officials and intelligence officials really is set on that foundation of how we can continue to integrate, how we can continue to strengthen our relationship, not only, of course, in my area of intelligence, but we're looking at commerce and trade and defense and education. There's nothing but opportunity that I see here in the U.S.-India partnership.
Well, you spoke about commerce and trade. Of course, there's a lot of anxiety among Indians about the tariff regime. Could you tell us which way that's headed? And in the pecking order of the U.S.-India relationship priorities, where does the tariff regime come in?
You know, what I have heard from the Indian government officials that I've spoken to over the last few days, there is an opportunity here to see more potential for the strengthening of our economic relationship. And I'm glad to see that they're looking at it in a more positive light than just one that is focused in a negative way when we look at tariffs. Obviously, Prime Minister Modi is looking out for what is in the best interests of India's economy and the opportunities available for the people of India. Similarly, President Trump is doing the same for the United States, our economic interests and the interests of the American people. So what I see as a great positive is that we have two leaders who have common sense and who are looking for good solutions. This direct dialogue happening at the very top in both of our countries, but also at the different secretaries and the cabinet members, is going to be key to lay down what that path forward really looks like. And I personally am excited because there's keen interest in the private sector here in India and in the United States to seek out those opportunities and to maximize them.
Ma'am, there's a lot of attention, of course, in the Asia-Pacific region for your visit here and the earlier port of call. I wanted to ask you, what is your assessment of the Chinese threat in the Asia-Pacific region, and do you see India as a key player to counter China?
You know, I've grown up in Hawaii and I've spent a lot of time in different countries across the Indo-Pacific region, and so understand at a deeply personal level the importance of this area for my country. And also, I think just as importantly, in understanding the complexities that exist within the histories of each of these countries, India and China, Vietnam, Thailand, the Philippines, the United States, of course. So what I appreciate about President Trump and his approach and some comments that I heard Prime Minister Modi make recently is they are very practical and they are pragmatic and are looking to strike that balance that will allow us to hopefully prevent any kind of conflict. Obviously, as it relates to China, there are challenges. There are also opportunities. And we have two leaders of two very important countries who will play a very central role in taking on those challenges, resolving issues where they exist, and also maximizing any opportunities. The goal, of course, that we all share is to achieve peace, to increase prosperity, and to ensure stability and security for both of our peoples, but in the region as well.
Ma'am, when you took over, there was a lot of attention to what people said that you were a sharp critic of US forever wars and regime change wars. But you also said, and I'm going to quote you said, when it comes to the war against terrorists, I'm a hawk. How does the Trump administration see the repeated terror attacks on India from Pakistan?
You know, President Trump, through his first administration in the presidency, and it continues now, has been very clear about his commitment to defeating this threat of Islamist terrorism that has unfortunately plagued us, has and continues to pose a direct threat to the American people. But we see how it's been impacting people here in India, in Bangladesh, currently ongoing in Syria, Israel, and different countries in the Middle East. So this is a threat that I know Prime Minister Modi also takes seriously, and one where the leaders of our two countries will work together to try to identify and defeat that threat.
I'd like to pivot a little bit on the ISET initiatives. Do you see India and the US cooperating in the field of semiconductors and nuclear energy?
Yeah, you know, I think there's not really any bounds to where the United States and India are looking to cooperate. And once again, we saw the initial vision and goals laid out by Prime Minister Modi and President Trump in their joint statement that came from the meeting that they had there in the Oval Office at the White House. So there are a lot of different elements, of course, with the private sector and with our respective agencies as it relates to commerce, to see where those opportunities are, to see where there may be barriers to access, and see how can we best, once again, strengthen our mutual economic interests by moving forward together.
One question on dismantling of deep state assets that's being talked about a lot on social media. So I have a question on this. Everybody's watching that, especially the firing of U.S. intelligence involved in inappropriate chats. I have to ask you, were they involved in regime change matters in India?
I can tell you, to my knowledge, the answer is no. I think what you're referring to, unfortunately, was an incident that came to my attention where for an extended period of time, we had intelligence professionals who were using an intelligence-based chat network to conduct highly unprofessional and sexually explicit conversation. This not only violates the basic professionalism that we expect of all of our government employees, but it really violates the trust specifically around those, the trust that the American people need to have in our intelligence professionals. So, you know, in my role as Director of National Intelligence, this is one area that is my singular priority when it comes to ensuring that our intelligence community is focused on its core mission of securing our country, seeking out the truth and reporting that truth so that our president can make the best informed decisions. So anything else that distracts away from that, we want to get out of the way, whether it's these inappropriate chat rooms or the more serious threats that we've seen of the weaponization and politicization of our intelligence to undermine really the fabric of our democratic republic.
Ma'am, finally I have to ask you, as a combat veteran, now in the C-suite of the Intel community, you've broken several glass ceilings. How important was spirituality and being a Hindu? How has that helped you in breaking all the glass ceilings?
Well, my own personal spiritual practice, my personal relationship with God is the center of my life, and I do my very best every day to live a life that is pleasing to God, and what better way to do that than to do my best to be of service to all of God's children. And so in different times of my life, whether serving in war zones in different parts of the world or the challenges that we face now, it is Krishna's teachings to Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita that I turn to in the best of times and the worst of times, and continuously learn critical lessons from Krishna to Arjuna that give me strength, that give me peace, that give me great comfort through all of the days.
You know, we don't have a Intel chief who's a woman. You have broken that, and you've given a lot of hope for young women, even in our country, to do that. But at the Senate, when that hearing was taking place, you said in that hearing, you said, "I'm not a puppet, and I've been accused of being a puppet of Putin, of spiritual gurus, of Modi, everybody." That came as a shocker to even us at that time, that you who has achieved so much in life, that somebody could label you as a puppet.
Was it really so surprising?
Yeah.
The unfortunate attacks that come from political opponents, they stoop to levels that are incredibly disrespectful. My focus again is on how I can best be of service, how and where I can make the most positive impact. And I'm grateful that President Trump has given me the opportunity to serve as Director of National Intelligence, to continue what I have dedicated my life to, which is serving our country and working towards ensuring the safety, security, and freedom of the American people.
It's almost lunchtime, ma'am. So what Indian food would you like to eat today? Anything on your
oh my
wish
gosh.
list?
Let me just say, I love so much about India. I always feel at home when I'm here. The people are so welcoming and kind, and the food is always delicious. The dal makhni and anything with fresh paneer is delicious.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for giving us the time, speaking to us, and all the best to you
Thank you.
for the next 4 years and for your visit to India.
It's great to see you. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.